I got a new camera and I'm trying it out. I'm in the Best Buy parking lot and someone just pulled up while I'm talking to the camera. So that's cool. I needed an SD card and Walmart didn't have one. So I had to go to Best Buy. This is a really interesting story. I made some tips yesterday at Open Mic and I had enough to get my SD card. My camera came in today. But then last night I got really sad because we had the show was so, what's the word I'm thinking of? It was packed. There were a lot of people on the show, so I couldn't get everyone on the show. So some people, they were on the signups and they wound up not being able to go up. And it was for a bunch of different reasons, but partially it was my fault. I felt really bad. And so I went to a gas station last night and bought one of those little pints of ice cream and a bunch of Reese's cups. And I depression ate a bunch of chocolate last night because I felt so bad. Then when I got here to get this SD card and went to pay, I was going to pay cash. It was really, I had just enough what I made last night to buy it. And then realized I forgot that I bought that ice cream. So I was short some money, so I had to use other money to buy it. Past me really wanted that ice cream, but future me was very disappointed in past me because, it would have been nice to have that cash and not have to touch my bank account. So there's that. And I don't know if I'm going to like using this screen. It might be better if I not look at it and I just look at you. Now I can't see the thing. Anyway, that's it. Okay. I think one of the challenges of being, why is my hat looks like the guy from Sandlot, the bill, because of the camera lens, it made it look like I have anyway. I was talking to someone yesterday at the show, and this is part of the problem of doing the show the way that I do the open mic now, is I wind up getting in conversations with people. Because I'm not playing music as much, I like to ask people, I stole this from Mike Falzone. One of the things that I do that I stole from Mike, he has a special called, I think, what's your favorite thing? And it's all crowd work, but he's talking to people, asking them what their favorite thing is. I've just started doing that at the open mic, and I'll ask people what their favorite thing is right now. Most people, because they don't want to be talked to for a long time, they'll say music or they'll say some movie, and then we'll talk about the movie or the music or the band or whatever. And I was talking to someone last night at the show, and like I said, this is the problem with the way that I do the show now, is I will get into a conversation with someone and take too much time. Because I take too much time on the front end of the show, we're cramming at the end, and I hope to get better at that. But I was asking someone what their favorite thing was, and they said their favorite thing right now is a show called Shrinking, which is an incredible show. If you have any experience with therapy, it's very relatable. But it's also just a sweet show about grief, but it's funny, and it's just a great show. Apple TV seems to be making a lot of really great shows, and they're the new HBO. But we were talking about the show, and I asked her if she was in therapy. She said, "Yeah, I'm in therapy. I've only been in it for a few months." I was like, "Oh, so you're just doing do the groundwork and kind of establish a relationship with this therapist?" And I asked her if there was something that she's learned so far about it, or learned from being in therapy right now. And that got into us talking about feeling our feelings. That's a tough thing to do. I think a lot of people find ways to bypass feeling actually what they feel. And I know when I say feeling your feelings, a lot of folks are probably like, I feel my feelings. I know when I'm angry or when I'm sad or when I'm happy. Happiness is the one I think we sometimes tend to overlook, but there's a difference. I don't know how to feel a feeling. Like when I have a feeling, I don't know how to just rest in it and feel it and notice what it's doing to my body, all of that stuff. I don't know how to do that. It shifts from here to here, and I try to analyze, well, why am I mad right now? And so last night when I went and bought a little pint of the Great Divide Bluebell brand, so it's half chocolate, half vanilla, and a 4-pack of Reese's peanut butter cups. And I started eating them. It's because I was very sad, because I felt like I'd let down a bunch of people, because the show went long. And so the last performer was up at closing time, and I felt so awful. There were people on the list that didn't get to play, and I was keeping the baristas there longer than normal. And I know better. I've been doing this show for 3 years, and I know better. I just started beating myself up and like, you stupid idiot. Like, why did you feel like you need to talk to people so long? So then I feel what's strange is because I felt bad and I went and bought all of those sweets, I didn't actually feel the sadness that I felt. Like, why I immediately had to bypass it by like eating something sweet. I couldn't actually let myself feel sad. I needed to pacify it. And that's like another way that I deal with my sadness, is by eating. You know, that sometimes is helpful. Sometimes you just need some chocolate. In therapy, I've been spending a lot of time trying to really understand and be present in my body and feel what I'm feeling. And feel it, not just understand it. Because I try to analyze and understand it, because if I understand it and I look at it from every angle, then I don't necessarily have to be in it as long as I probably should. I trick myself into thinking I can get out of it more quickly if I analyze it instead of just feeling it. Like last night, I felt sad because I let all these people down. And I let myself feel, I'd let the baristas down, I'd let the people that were on the list down. I felt like an idiot because I'm like, why'd you talk so much? Instead of just feeling that sadness, I immediately analyzed it and then began beating myself up about it, because that felt easier than just feeling it. Sometimes you just feel sad, or sometimes you just feel bad about something you've done. And there's a time to acknowledge where you messed up, but there's also a time to just feel the feeling. And I don't really know what that looks like. I just know that as I started recording and trying this new camera, that I started thinking about, what does it mean to feel your feelings? To just feel them, not to think about why you're feeling that way. Because right now, even now in this video, I'm trying to think about why I feel the way that I feel, or why I felt the way that I felt. And instead, I could have just felt it, been like, well, that happened, and I feel bad, and here's maybe what I could have done differently, and then moved on. And maybe I wouldn't have spent so much time sort of ruminating on it, and wouldn't have spent so much time beating myself up about it, and then I wouldn't have gone and bought that ice cream. Not that the ice cream was bad, it was delicious, but I don't want to make a habit of like trying to pacify the feeling I'm feeling. Sometimes if you just feel it and then it floats away, you're like, okay, I felt that, I'm aware of it. Here's how I'm going to be better next time when I make a mistake. You know, this morning I was telling Michelle about this, and she was like, you know, stop beating yourself up. It was a night, you couldn't help all of it. It just is what it is. It's what happened. There's literally the sun set last night and the sun rose again, and we're in a new day. And now I have an opportunity to go and help people get set up for a goth prom that's tonight. So, and I didn't mean to start doing a vlog, but here we are. Now I'm going back inside because I walked outside specifically so we had a different environment for this part of the vlog, but now I have to go to work, and then we'll talk more later. Sometimes my overthinking brain comes in handy because, you know, we just finished getting some stuff set up for goth prom, which is on Saturday, and because I will sort of analyze things from every angle a lot, I was able to kind of get a 10,000 foot view of, it's super simple and it's silly and it's a tiny thing, but like help figure out how to set up some tables, where there was a lot of people who were kind of like, I don't know how we should do this. And I get
choice paralysis sometimes too. But I think when it's possible for me to be helpful, I can sort of overlook that and be like, well, let's just do it this way. What if this works? And it did. And that was really nice to be helpful and feel useful. That's the nice thing about figuring out, like what I was saying earlier. Sometimes you have a bad day, and if you're lucky to get up the next morning and get some more oxygen in your lungs and get to see the sun again, that's another opportunity to do something for people and to help and to be, to feel like you did something. And if you maybe didn't do everything you hoped to yesterday, you get to today. And so that was nice, because I felt really bad about yesterday. But then I got today and I got to feel useful, and it was nice. And another way that I get to feel useful is now I'm going to Long John Silver's and getting some fish and chicken, because me and Michelle deserve a little treat for what we did today, getting stuff set up. And also because we're hungry. So I'm going to get Long John's. I don't know how often I'll do these, but I hope whatever it is you're dealing with, I hope you know that it's going to be okay. Might feel rough right now. Maybe you felt like you let some people down yesterday or today, whenever you're watching this. If you're lucky to wake up tomorrow, you have another opportunity to do something really cool for people and for yourself. Like doing something for yourself is like going to get Long John Silver's. So yeah, glad you're here.